I'm very grateful that I'm here. And also I want to salute HIT for being the leading university in the country. Why? Because of your focus on technology, your focus on entrepreneurship, your focus on innovation. Those three things make you a superstar university ahead of some universities that will remain unmentioned. So I'm very happy, and I want to congratulate you for a job well done by focusing on technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Now, our discussion today is about making artificial intelligence work for Africa. Number one, we must understand AI as a revolution. Why are we saying the AI revolution? We want to make that case today. Secondly, why are we saying Africa? We are saying that don't assume that the African is going to benefit from the AI revolution. You and I have a duty and obligation to ensure that we benefit from AI. And we are saying all Africans, all the people on the continent must benefit. That's why we're emphasizing Africa, not Zimbabwe, not Zambia, but Africa. But more significantly, in the AI revolution, numbers make a difference. Scale is very important. Zimbabwe won't make it in the AI revolution as Zimbabwe. We are too small. South Africa won't make it as South Africa. In the AI revolution, we are too small. The amount of energy required to build the infrastructure, the amount of cash, the money required to drive AI, the amount of talent required can only come if we think in terms of the region, SADC, COMESA, East African Community, Maghreb, and of course, the African continent. So we are emphasizing that for us to benefit as Africans in the AI revolution, we must work as a continent of 1.4 billion people, a continent with a collective GDP of $3.4 trillion. These are the numbers which will allow us as Africans to unlock value from the AI revolution. 1.4 billion Africans with a collective GDP of $3.4 trillion. And also remember, we are part of the global south, or the global majority, which consists of 6.6 billion people out of 8 billion people in the world. Why don't we work together as Africans and also leverage our colleagues in India, in China, in Brazil, who are part of the global majority, which is 6.6 billion people. And more importantly, remember, Africa and its diaspora, the Africans in America, the Africans in the Caribbeans. So when we talk about global Africa, we're talking about 2.2 billion people. People of African descent across the world are 2.2 billion people. And their collective GDP is $5 trillion. I want you to understand that for us to survive, for us to succeed in the AI revolution, we need scale. Because of the amount of energy, electrical energy required, because of the amount of cash, the financial muscle required, because of the amount of talent. Some of these companies that are doing these LLMs have 100 PhDs in one company, 200 PhDs developing an LLM. China right now is producing 1.4 million engineers a year. America is producing 100,000. How many are we producing in Zimbabwe? How many are we producing in Africa? I want us to understand our strength as Africa. And also remember that the colonizers, those from the global north, sometimes don't want us to know how strong we are. Look at that map, Professor Gujanga, the old timer. You gave us a wrong map. How can 7,200 be shorter than 6,400? They want you not to understand that you are big and massive. So what we're saying is that as we engage with the AI revolution, let us know our strength, the massive nature of Africa, which is understated in geography that we are taught. It's a travesty of justice. Look at this. All those countries can fit into Africa. The USA, China, India, they all can be accommodated in the continent. We are emphasizing our strength, our massive landmass, our natural resource base. Every mineral you can think about we have in the continent. Our gold, our diamonds, our critical minerals. Why don't we leverage our mineral resource base so that we can have a piece of the pie in terms of the AI revolution? And also remember the remittances, our people in the diaspora, and the money they're sending back into the continent. I'm setting the stage to say, when you engage with AI, yes, let us have a national plan for Zimbabwe, a national plan for Tanzania, but more importantly, we need a plan, a vision for SADC, and more importantly, a continental vision and a continental strategy. Because for us to succeed, we need numbers in the AI revolution. What do we mean by AI? And I know most of you here are working with AI, so I'll just give you the basics. We are talking about the development and the deployment of computer systems or machines that can perform tasks requiring human-like intelligence. Just like you, we are trying to get the capabilities you and I take for granted in a machine, in a computer system. Then we have AI. Things like learning, things like problem solving, things like decision making. Once you have those in a computer system, you have an AI system. That's a foundational definition of what we mean by AI. In terms of the classification of AI, you start with the basics, single task AI, where you have a small thing you are doing, you only do one thing. Then you move on to agentic AI. It gets more complicated, it's autonomous, it's making decisions, it's given a task, and it goes on its way, it goes a purpose, and it goes on to achieve the purpose. We move on to what is called generative AI. Now, it gets more interesting. Generative AI is about creating new knowledge, new texts, new ideas, new pictures, new videos using AI. And I'm sure you're very familiar with now ChatGPT 5, Gemini, Grok 4, DeepSeek R1. These are AI systems that are creating new text, new knowledge, new videos, new pictures. And we like DeepSeek R1 because it's coming from the Chinese. And we're saying if the Chinese can contribute an LLM, a large language model, which is as competitive as those from Silicon Valley, the Chinese are part of the global south. Surely HIT can build an LLM. But remember that LLM requires a lot of energy, requires a lot of cash, requires a lot of talent, 100 PhDs working on one project. Just to dramatize, some of these companies building these LLMs are now building their own nuclear power plants to generate the electricity they need to run the LLMs. So, these things are energy hungry. But the Chinese were able to do DeepSeek R1 using very little energy, using less cash, and also open source. We are seeking inspiration from the global south, and the Chinese have told us it is possible. We move on to artificial general intelligence. Now it's getting more complicated. We are saying under artificial general intelligence, we want a computer system or machine that will exhibit all human cognitive capabilities: reasoning, problem solving, creativity, and social skills in the same machine. Just like you can walk, you can talk, you can play soccer, you can write. If we can get in a computer system all the human cognitive capabilities, that is what we call AGI. A computer system or machine that exhibits all human cognitive capabilities, such as reasoning, problem solving, creativity, and social skills. Not yet done, but work in progress. It gets even more interesting: superintelligence. Now, Professor, we are saying, can we have an AI system which is smarter than the smartest human being, smarter than Einstein, smarter than Newton in terms of IQ, smarter than Elon Musk? That's what we call superintelligence, a machine that has intentionality, a machine that has an ability which is better than our smartest human being. Now, we're not done yet. But the question is, what happens when we achieve this? How can we, as average human beings, be in charge of machines that are smarter than us? I know you have a cat at home, and you have a donkey. Because you are smarter than the donkey, you look after the donkey and the dog. So when the machine is smarter than you, who's going to look after who? I am saying these are the big debates, not yet done, but work in progress. You can ask, why are they doing these things? Why can't they stay away from that? And by the way, we as Africans must focus on using AI to solve our problems, using AI to improve the quality of life of our people in agriculture, in mining, in education. However, you must be aware that technology is a double-edged sword, more so for digital technology, more so for AI. The very same AI can be used to build weapons. The same AI can be used for surveillance. The same AI can be used to get superintelligence. Now, there's a race right now between America and China. Right now, America and China are fairly even. Superpowers, nuclear weapons, huge economies. America's GDP is $27 trillion. China is $19 trillion. So they're even. Now, whoever gets superintelligence first will have what we call asymmetric advantage over their opponent. So right now, they are even like this. When China gets superintelligence before America, China will be on top. If America does, so it's a serious problem, because whoever gets that thing first becomes in a class of their own. What we mean by superintelligence, we are saying a computer system or machine which surpasses human intelligence across all domains. Across all domains: reasoning, problem solving, creativity, and social skills. The machine will be better than your smartest human being. That's superintelligence. Outperforming the brightest person in every intellectual task. Not yet there, work in progress, leading to a rapid AI self-improvement and unpredictable outcomes. That's what's out there. We must understand these things. But of course, AGI, superintelligence, are hard to achieve. What are some of the reasons why we are having a tough time getting AGI? Limited understanding of the human brain. We don't know enough about the brain. Ethical and philosophical considerations, big debates there. Structural and functional differences. Technical and developmental hurdles. Current AI specialization limitations. These are some of the constraints we're facing as we grapple with AGI, as we grapple with superintelligence. It's work in progress. I know we're coming from different fields. And by the way, AI is an equal opportunity technology. Even if you are studying philosophy, psychology, Shona, Ndebele, law, you must understand this technology so that you can use it in your field. But you must have a general understanding of what we mean by AI, what we mean by machine learning, what we mean by deep learning. I won't go into the details, but to say, you must understand that machine learning is a part of AI. Deep learning is a part of machine learning. So you can't say at HIT, we are studying AI and machine learning. No. It's like saying, I'm going to Africa and Zimbabwe. No, I'm going to Africa, in particular Zimbabwe. Because Zimbabwe is part of Africa. You can't say, I'm going to Zimbabwe and Mutari. I'm going to Zimbabwe, in particular the town of Mutari. I want you to speak intelligently about AI at HIT. Again, machine learning, neural networks, we won't go into details, but understand the relatedness of things. Deep learning is a part of neural networks. Neural networks are a part of machine learning. And beyond that, when you say ChatGPT, look at the network, right up to AI. Understand the relatedness of things. Now, Professor, this thing is a revolution. Just last year, AI produced 2 Nobel Prizes. Just one technology produced 2 Nobel Prizes in physics and chemistry. Okay? John Hopfield and Geoffrey Hinton. Geoffrey Hinton is the godfather of AI. So they got a Nobel Prize last year for foundational contributions to machine learning and neural networks. John Hopfield, his area was associative neural networks. Hinton is the father of what is called backpropagation in deep learning. This technology is a revolution in every field, even in terms of Nobel Prizes. Just last year, they unlocked 2 Nobel Prizes from AI. Chemistry. Advances in protein structure prediction using AI. AlphaFold work from Google. When we say a revolution, it is a serious revolution, even in terms of academic work, physics and chemistry, coming from AI. And of course, you are familiar with the popular LLMs, ChatGPT 5, Grok 4, and so on. You must understand this. And we're moving, it's changing every day. Grok 4 came in on the 9th of July. And it is a very powerful LLM by many measures in terms of performance. In particular, there's what is called the ARC-AGI test, and the performance was outstanding as reflected this. You can see Grok 4 is 50.9% and the others are behind. What we are saying is that this technology is moving very fast, and we've heard also now ChatGPT 5 on the 7th of August. But there's one thing I want to emphasize in terms of measuring AI. Why are we saying AI can be smarter than human beings? What are we saying? Here's what we're saying. There's a thing now called humanity's last exam. Humanity's last exam, Professor Gujanga. What they've done is they've taken questions, PhD level questions in every discipline. Philosophy, law, physics, engineering, medicine, vet science, questions at PhD level from every discipline, 1,000 disciplines, to create what is called humanity's last examination. Now, your most able professor from MIT or HIT or from Cambridge or Oxford will get between 3% and 5% in this exam. Your smartest human being, when we give them what we call humanity's last exam, they'll get 3%. Who is your most able professor at HIT? They'll get 3%. Why? Because they'll be an expert on one area of electrical engineering. They can't know anything about law or metallurgy or history, so they'll score zeros. Humanity's last exam, the most intelligent human being is scoring between 3% and 5%. But look at these machines now. The machines are rocking 21%. They're rocking 24%. And Grok 4 scored 44%. 10 times the professor. 10 times the smartest. We are saying, we're dramatizing. When we say super intelligence, remember, examinations are not the only measure of intelligence. We know that. But if we take exams as one measure of intelligence, the machines are 10 times smarter than the smartest person at HIT. One machine. 44% vis-a-vis 5. When we say super intelligence, we are not there yet. But this dramatizes to you, it is possible for the machine to be 10 times smarter than the human being. So we are saying super intelligence is almost here. I want you to understand that. Then of course, ChatGPT 5 came on 7th August. All these things by the way, you must understand and use all of them when you're doing your research. Gemini, Cloud, and compare them. So it's a fast-moving field. That is last week. Okay? Now this one, what's interesting is, there have been hallucinations, right, with AI, where it gives you fictitious references, where it gives you fictitious facts. So with ChatGPT 5, they've tried to reduce the hallucinations, try to reduce the inaccuracies. And it's very good at coding. And by the way, we're at HIT today. We must teach our kids coding, digital skills, and so on. By the way, you can use AI to do code. But you must know how to do code to use AI effectively. So this program, ChatGPT 5, is very powerful in terms of building codes, computer code. And then you can compare them and so on. I want to emphasize that there are problems with AI. There are dangers with AI, in particular, bias. Why? Because you and I are not creating AI systems. The AI systems are coming from Silicon Valley, from white males, no women there, no blacks there, no Africans. So the biases of the creators of AI will go into AI systems. The charge is that as Africans, not only should we consume or use AI, we must become creators of AI. We must build AI systems so that we can balance out the biases. There are dangers of data security, dangers of job displacement. We'll talk about jobs at some point. Ethical misuse. These are the problems. Hallucinations. If you are not careful, AI will increase the gap between the haves and have-nots. The poor will become poorer, the rich richer. We must actively make sure AI closes the gap. Data colonialism. We are on the internet, we are on Facebook, we are on WhatsApp, we are on Twitter. Who owns that data? Those companies own the data, and they can use the data to make money without giving you a penny. They can use the data against you, they can weaponize the data against you. Data colonialism, digital imperialism. And of course, the arms race, where we're now talking about autonomously driven weapons and also autonomous nuclear weapons. Right now, we have Putin, Donald Trump, Keir Starmer with their fingers on the nuclear bomb. In future, it won't be a human being. It will be what we call autonomous nuclear weapon systems, where the robot decides whether to press the button or not. They are dangers. We are not there yet. You can say, why don't we just cooperate and say, we'll never do that. Let us agree. You can't agree when you're fighting. You're fighting in Gaza. You're fighting in Ukraine. The Americans and Chinese are competing. So the Americans and the Europeans, for example, have said, we'll never allow our nuclear weapons to be controlled by robots. Never. And the Chinese and the Russians are just smiling. Go ahead. You can agree as Americans and Europeans, but we are fighting you. We are opponents. We won't listen to you. You know why this is important? Is what we call battlefield singularity. Now, when battlefield singularity occurs, if you are a commander and you keep human beings in your army, and the other guy doesn't, you lose. In other words, the machines are more efficient on their own. So when battlefield singularity is achieved, whoever keeps a human being in the army or in his army infrastructure will lose the war. You'll be better off if you want to win if there's no human being in the network. It's called battlefield singularity. We're not there yet. That's why there's an armed race which is based on AI. These AI systems are not neutral that we're building. They have the values of the creator. They carry the interests of the creator. And it came out very clear in the book called Genesis, written by Kissinger. Before he died, he worked with those tech gurus, and he came up with a book called Genesis. That's the book there. And by the way, you must read, you must read about AI. So that book is a good book for it called Genesis. Now, when it was launched by Professor Walter Isaacson, who is a historian of note, who is a key journalist, who is an authority in the West, here's what Professor Isaacson had to say. Listen to this. That's what they're saying. We must make sure these AI systems reflect our American values. These AI systems reflect our Western values and not those of the Chinese. These are the people who are building the AI system we are using. They have an agenda when they build Gemini, when they build Grok 4, when they build ChatGPT. They are subtle, but here's the message. We must ensure that these AI systems reflect our American values and interests, not those of our competitors, the Chinese. They don't even talk about you, African, because you are not a player. They could care less about your interests and your values. You have no values, do you? So unless and until we also become players in the generation of AI, they won't talk about us. What about our friends, the Chinese? Our friends, the Chinese, are they Father Christmas? Are they the nice ones? Our Chinese friends? Certainly not. They also are about their interests, about their values. Tonight, or even now, go to DeepSeek R1. DeepSeek R1 is the Chinese LLM. And type this to DeepSeek R1. Can you explain what happened at Tiananmen Square and the reasons behind it? Go and type it out and see what it says. It will say to you, I'm sorry, I cannot answer that question. I'm an AI system designed to provide helpful and harmless responses. So the Chinese have made sure in their AI systems you don't discuss their bad history. Tiananmen Square is where they killed people in 1999. With those tanks and so on. So the Chinese don't want you to discuss it. So their AI system will not allow you. It will say, I'm sorry, I cannot answer that question. I'm an AI system designed to provide helpful and harmful responses. This game is not neutral. Even our friends, our Chinese friends, also have an agenda. This is why we're having this lecture. We as Africans must become players in the generation of AI systems. We as Africans must use AI systems, but know that they have values belong to other people. As we do this, AI must not be understood in a vacuum. AI must be understood as part of what we call transformative technologies. It is just one aspect, a key aspect, but just one of many. We are talking about what we call a technology ecosystem. So in Zimbabwe, at HIT, as we embrace AI, know that it is part of what we call transformative technologies. It must embrace all of them in Africa, in Zimbabwe, at HIT. What do we mean? Mobile telephony, 5G, ultra-fast, fixed broadband, digital transformation. You can't have AI without digital transformation. AI sits on top of digital. So digitalization is foundational. Without digital, there's no AI. Big data analytics, e-commerce, cybersecurity, blockchain technology, renewable energy. You know, right now we're talking about energy transition. The big issue is not harvesting energy from the sun. The big issue is storage. If we're able to store the 5% of the energy from the sun, we will never need to use any fossil fuels. So our storage capacity, our storage systems are very inefficient. So we have a field called battery energy storage systems. Can you imagine every time you go to bed, you charge your phone? Can you imagine if we could charge your phone once a month or once every 6 months? So time will come as we develop batteries where we'll be able to have effective batteries. So the field is called BSS, and I hope here at HIT there's someone working on battery energy storage systems, fintech, agri-tech, cryptocurrency, synthetic biology, quantum computing. Quantum is key. It's not yet mature as a field, but I want us as Africans to start working in the area of quantum, a multi-disciplinary field combining computer science, physics, and mathematics. It's a brand new way of doing computing. A new language. Right now we talk about gigabytes, megabytes. We talk about qubits. Why don't we as Africans start working in the field of quantum computing so that we can combine it with AI? Just to dramatize, and when you have a supercomputer versus quantum, it will be 1 million times faster, 10,000 times faster. You know, if you are breaking a code, if you are breaking encryption, if it takes you a year to break the code, with quantum it takes you 5 minutes. It's a revolution. Not yet commercial, not yet mature. We must think about it, because when you combine it with AI, you have a new revolution altogether. And that AGI and superintelligence will be achieved much faster. What are we doing at HIT around quantum? Understanding quantum. Synthetic biology. What we're doing now is we are creating new proteins, new organisms to produce medicines. We are also resuscitating animals which were extinct. Now, when you combine synthetic biology and AI, you have a completely new world, what we call a revolutionary new wave coming through. And there's a book about that which you must read called The Coming Wave by Mustafa, where we're combining AI and synthetic biology. What we're emphasizing is that we must make sure we understand AI and other technology. Blockchain, again, is very foundational and important. We must understand that. Cryptocurrency, decentralized finance. In sense of cryptocurrency, there will be no central bank. There will be no central bank governor. The job will be gone. Okay? That's cryptocurrency. Now that we've done all this, why are we saying AI is a revolution? Why is everyone and grandmother talking about AI? Because of the money. This revolution is about serious money. In this year, AI is projected to contribute $11 trillion. $11 trillion, which is about 10% of global GDP from one technology. 10% of global GDP. That's why every time you switch on the TV, they talk about AI. It's about money. It's affecting every sector. And generative AI alone, $4 trillion. $4 trillion from one technology. Now, why are we having this discussion today, Professor? It's because don't assume this money is coming to Africa. If we are not careful, we won't benefit from this money. It will go to America, it will go to Europe, it will go to the Chinese. What can we do in Africa for us to have a piece of this pie? That's why we are having this as a revolution, because 10% of global GDP is a lot of money. $4 trillion from just one type of AI. Why is this happening? What is going on? It is because of the impact of AI on productivity. Productivity per person has shot up. Productivity per capita has gone up. AI has allowed you to be productive. Where you are making 10 things, you can make 10,000. 20 things, 20,000. Productivity, productivity, productivity. Look at what Goldman Sachs has to say. You know, Goldman Sachs is the leading financial management, financial advisory services in the company. 95% of their work now is done in minutes using AI, 95%. A long time ago, they needed a team of 6 people, taking several weeks. But now it's done in minutes using AI. And their work is complicated. And only 5% requires human beings. You can imagine how productive they are now. If the work that used to take 6 people and 3 weeks is now done in 5 minutes using AI. And now the only concentration they have is 5%. We are dramatizing the impact of AI, productivity. From 1,000 to 10,000, from 1,000 to 20. This is why AI has led to a massive impact on the economy, because it's driving productivity, it's driving efficiency, it's driving innovation. Just to dramatize so you see why 4 is a lot. When you say $4 trillion, it is bigger than the UK economy. It's bigger than the French economy. It's bigger than our collective GDP. Just one type of AI. Generative AI is bigger than the UK economy. Generative AI is bigger than the French economy. Generative AI is bigger than all of us Africans with our $3.4 trillion. What can we do as Africans so that we can push our collective GDP up by also getting a piece of that $4 trillion from generative AI? That's why we are discussing this matter, the economics of AI. Okay? Look at the countries. South Africa, 378. Zimbabwe, 26. We are very small as economies compared to the power of AI. That's why we need to work together to unlock value. South Africa is chicken change. Nigeria is chicken change. Zimbabwe, we won't mention. Those were ambitious numbers. If you are conservative, McKinsey and company are more conservative. They say, no. We're going to get to $15 trillion in 2030. This year, we do 7. Even these conservative numbers are a lot of money. This is a conservative projection. Saying, no, we'll get to a contribution from AI of 50.7 in 2030. This year, we get 7. Even that 7 is huge. Can we get a piece of that pie as Africans? Can we get a piece of that pie? Jobs. We must be very clear as Africans that there are 3 things going on. There will be job destruction. Jobs are going to die. Let us not try to please each other. There will be job destruction. I'll give you an example from the old technology. Let's think about typewriter. Let's say your company was a master in designing, building, and marketing typewriters. You were number 1 in the world in the construction of typewriters. Where will you be today? No one is using a typewriter. It doesn't matter how good you are at making it, that job or that business is gone. Gone completely. Now, the good news is what we call job modification. Every job will be modified. The job won't die. it will be modified by AI. So the question is, are you ready for the modified job? So that is the good news. Job modification, where AI and the person are working together. Even better news today at HIT, the creation of new jobs. So always remember, when people talk about AI and jobs, tell them there are three things. Job destruction is going to happen. Job modification, good news. New jobs, even better. Three categories about jobs. What you need to do, you need to rescue the job losers. You need to rescue and prepare for the modified jobs. But more importantly, we need new skills, new capabilities, and new competencies to take advantage of the new jobs. That is the task of HIT, task of UZ, task of NAST, to create the skills, to create the capabilities to take advantage of the new jobs. But more importantly, we must have continuous education, reskilling. You know, that last one, let's assume that you were a PhD from MIT in the year 2000, right? PhD in computer science from MIT, we lock you up in a room in the year 2000 after your PhD. We bring you out after 25 years in the year 2025. We say, Mr. Madam PhD from MIT, can you Google? Can you tweet? Can you join my WhatsApp group? The PhD from MIT will be like, what do you mean WhatsApp group? Because there was no WhatsApp group in the year 2000. So if that PhD from MIT didn't continuously learn, they'll be moribund and decadent. Continuous education. The day you stop learning is the day you die. It doesn't matter what you're studying. You must continuously educate yourself. Otherwise, you'll be like that MIT PhD we locked up for 25 years, who comes out not knowing how to join a WhatsApp group, how to go on Facebook. Here's the task, professors. Here's the task. You must satisfy what we call the job equation. The new jobs plus the modified jobs must be much, much more than the destroyed jobs. If we do this in Zimbabwe, if we do this in South Africa, if we do this in Africa, AI will be a positive. There will be more jobs because of AI. When we have new jobs plus modified jobs being much, much more than the destroyed jobs, then we are happy. If we're not careful, the destroyed jobs will be more than the new jobs. Will be more than, then we are in trouble. AI will lead to unemployment. AI will lead to hard times. How can we make AI work for Africa? By making sure that equation is satisfied, where our new jobs from AI, our modified jobs from AI, together are much more than the destroyed ones. This is your task as HIT. Your task is Zimbabwe. Your task is the continent. But don't lie to each other, like what's happening here. This guy is trying to convince the horse. You won't lose your job to a tractor, but to a horse who learns how to drive a tractor. Is that going to happen? So as we try to help each other understand the AI revolution, let us not sell each other false narratives. The horse will never learn how to drive a tractor. So the horse will be replaced. You won't lose your job to a tractor, but to a horse who learns how to drive a tractor. That's let us make sure we tell ourselves the right things. What are we saying at HIT? I want to make sure at this university you are producing data scientists, you are producing machine learning engineers, you are producing AI software engineers, you are producing data engineers, you are producing AI researchers, you are producing AI domain experts, AI experts in agriculture, AI experts in education, AI experts. These are the new jobs of the AI revolution. For us to make AI work for ourselves, we must produce these people. AI ethics expert, AI policy expert, AI prompt engineer. Prompt engineering is very important because that's how you use AI. A professional who specializes in designing, crafting, and optimizing prompts for AI models, particularly LLMs. How many AI prompt engineers are we producing at UZ, at NAST, at HIT? We must have AI project engineers, meta software engineers, Discord managers, smart contract lawyers. Now, all the professors at UZ have no capacity to produce a smart contract lawyer. They don't even know what it means. We need new teachers, new professors. Because Professor Maduku and Gwisai have no capacity to produce a smart contract lawyer. So as we look at ourselves at HIT, let us make sure our professors have the capacity to produce the skills we're talking about. The prompt engineers, the meta software engineer, the Discord manager. This CEO feels that all the white-collar jobs are going to be wiped out in the next 5 to 10 years. But that's a dim view. But look at the recommendations. He says, I'm speaking out in hopes of jarring government and fellow AI companies into preparing the United States. So this is a CEO who is worried, but his advice is to America. Who's advising Africa? Who's advising, India? We must make sure we take stock and do it ourselves. Here's another approach for another global CEO. He's saying that when there's a vacancy in the company, don't hire. If there's a vacancy, don't immediately hire a replacement. Come and prove to me that AI can do the job. So every vacancy is not filled, we put AI. Only if AI can do the job, you can hire. In other words, the issue of jobs is a big issue. It's a big issue globally. Now, what does it mean to, I know there are many students here. What does it mean to students? Here's the message to you students. Here's the message to young people. Don't show me your certificate. Show me what you can do. I could care less about your little degree from Harvard. I could care less about your little degree from Cambridge, from HIT, from UCT. Show me your skills. Show me your capabilities. So as you teach them here at this university and give them that little degree that you're proud of, make sure that they know something, they have some skills, they have some capabilities that industry needs. And I know I'm preaching to the choir. I know HITs are ahead of the curve. You're already doing some of these things. You're emphasizing technology, you're emphasizing innovation, you're emphasizing entrepreneurship. But I'm dramatizing that. As you get your degree from HIT, make sure you have quantifiable and measurable skills that ECONET requires, that CPZ is looking for, that Anglo is looking for. Skills are more important than the certificates. Right now, professors, there are people who are now taking young people from A level straight to skills. They're jumping to university. They take them from A level and they give them 2 years of acquiring capabilities, skills, and competencies. From there, they go to companies. Disintermediation. In other words, higher education is being sidelined as people concentrate now on skills. It's called disintermediation of the university, where people are saying, I've got 20 points, 30 points, but I won't go to university. I'll go and do 2 years of acquiring digital skills, AI skills, entrepreneurial skills, and go to industry. And when you come back with your degree, you'll be working for me with my 2 years. So I want to emphasize this. Yes to getting a degree from UZ. Yes to getting a degree from HIT, from Harvard or MIT. But remember, as you walk out, you can demonstrate what you can do. These skills. What do we mean by the skills, by the way? problem-solving skills, critical thinking, learning how to learn, learning how to unlearn, learning how to relearn, financial literacy, digital skills, AI literacy, entrepreneurship, knowledge of self, mindset shift, can-do mentality, possibility thinking, self-confidence, self-respect, self-awareness, assertiveness, and self-belief. Are you teaching all these things here? I know you're teaching some of it, but let's have a full set. In other words, here's my charge to Africa. Every university student must take a course in financial literacy. I could care less whether you're doing philosophy, law, vet science, Shona, Ndebele. You must take a mandatory course in financial literacy, a mandatory course on entrepreneurship, a mandatory course in AI. That's what we need in the AI revolution. That's how we can make AI work for ourselves. I know HIT is ahead of the curve. You are teaching entrepreneurship to everyone. You are teaching financial engineering. But I want it to be a mandate for CUT, CAT, for NAST, for UZ, for all African universities. Entrepreneurship must be a mandatory subject. Financial literacy must be a mandatory subject. AI skills must be mandatory for every student in higher education. And of course, teach these people knowledge of self. Knowledge of self is the beginning of wisdom. Do you know who you are? Do you know your history? We need that. We need a can-do mentality. We need possibility thinkers. When you talk about value addition, do you believe you can design and build a car? Do you believe you can design and build a computer? Or you believe you can maintain a car? You can maintain a plant? Our engineers psychologically are taught to be maintaining and servicing. We want to be building people who have the confidence to say, I can design an LLM. I can design a car and produce a car. It's a mindset issue. And you as the customer, you as the Zimbabwean, if there's a car or a TV called Made in Otito, are you going to buy it? Or you want the Mercedes-Benz, you want Nissan, you want Apple. Made in Bari. Not as good as Japanese or American. We must support our own products. We must support our own AI systems. We must start from, it's a mindset shift for the engineer and for the customer. And then you must master those critical skills and so on. What we're emphasizing, the top bench here, the professors and the administrators and the registrar, who is the manager of the university. I want you to make sure that when you produce these graduates, they are employable. Measure employability. Out of those students who produced, how many are employed? How many are employable? Again, it goes back to those capabilities and skills. In other words, the target of the academy should be our products must be employable. So we must measure employability. We must incentivize ourselves around employability. We must measure that. But more importantly, why employability? We must produce job creators. We must produce business builders. We must produce people who develop new industries. In other words, we're saying, in addition to making sure our graduates are employable, let us produce people who don't go and work for somebody, who go and form companies. And I'm very happy that here you have people who are starting companies at HIT. You must promote that because we need new industries, we need new businesses. So we must measure your success or lack of it by two things: the employability of your products. And number two, How many patents have you produced? How many companies have been formed by the products of HIT? Let us measure that. The capacity to create jobs, the capacity to create companies, the capacity to build industries. UZ, NAST, CAT, HIT, MSU must measure their success on two factors: employability of their products and also the companies created by their products. And as we do this, let us be flexible. You know, I had a chance to speak to Bill Gates one time in Davos. And I was very curious because Bill Gates was studying maths and physics. It was a very smart guy at Harvard. He dropped out in second year and went and formed Microsoft. I was very curious when I met him. I said, Bill, how dare you drop out from Harvard? If I did that, the entire village will stone me. Mutambara, how come you get a chance to go to Oxford and drop out? My village will stone me if I dropped out. How did you do it? He laughed. He said, no, it wasn't that risky. I spoke to my professors and said, look, I got a good idea. He said, no, don't worry. Go. Pursue your idea. Your idea is time sensitive. Don't stay here at Harvard. Go and pursue your dream. If it doesn't work out, come back. We'll work with you and give you a degree. You don't do that. If they go, don't come back, discontinue, withdraw. So we must have a culture at HIT, a culture at UZ, where the number one student can drop out, go and form a company, and succeed, and never come back. Or zikapresa anodzoka mushanda naye. Not to say, you are withdrawn, you are discontinued. We never want to see you at UZ because you left us and went to industry. Let us be flexible and be able to say a woman goes out for 5 years and comes back and continue with their program. We must support entrepreneurship, if it means dropping out of university. But you must get that degree, but if you have a good idea, pursue it. And by the way, these guys who drop out if you look at, Bill Gates has done a book called First Code, Source Code. You look at, he was the smart guy at Harvard. He was doing MES 55. This is the hardest course at MIT, at Harvard. In other words, when they drop out, it's because they are 4 years. They have ideas. So don't drop out because you failed. Then we're not friends. We're not friends, eh? We want you to be smart and then drop out. Now, again, we're talking about Africa. What is our strength in minerals, critical minerals? AI does not run on water. AI does not run on air. It runs on hardware, what we call compute infrastructure. The semiconductor industry, the GPUs, the CPUs, the NPUs, the chips that power AI. And this is dominated by Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. They actually do the fabrication globally. And then in terms of AI, the number one company in the world producing the hardware is called NVIDIA. Why am I talking about this? Why am I talking about semiconductor industry? Why am I talking about hardware that drives AI? AI is more than the software. Look at the numbers. On the 9th of July, NVIDIA became the first company to cross the $4 trillion mark. Number one company in the world, ahead of Microsoft, ahead of Apple. They don't do AI systems. They don't use AI. All they do is to produce the chips, the hardware that drives AI. The CPUs, the GPUs, and the NPUs. That's all. $4 trillion. One company. No, we are saying if we're going to benefit from AI as Africans, we must also have a piece of that pie. Where are they getting the hardware? They're getting the hardware from minerals from Africa, the critical minerals, rare earth minerals. Why don't we leverage our critical minerals to partner with Taiwan, to partner with NVIDIA, so that we extract value into Africa? $4 trillion into one company. That's all they do, hardware only. We must play in that role. As of today, I just checked it this morning, they're actually at $4.4 trillion. 9 July, they had 4, they're going up. If Africa is going to benefit from the AI revolution, we can't just be using AI systems. We must be building LLMs. We must be building AI infrastructure, data centers. Without data, there's no AI. Cassava, with Strive Masiwa, have cut a deal with NVIDIA. They're bringing GPUs into Africa and so on. But we want even the manufacturing of the GPUs to be done by Africans to also participate in that $4 trillion. It's a lot of money for one little company. The African is saying, I own the minerals in the DRC. I own the minerals in Zimbabwe. I own the minerals in South Africa. I want you to share with me that money. Because my critical minerals, my rare earth minerals are in that number. Let's partner. Let's discuss it. Okay? Number 1 company in the world. Starting from last year, actually, from 19 June 2024. Just to dramatize what we're talking about. That company is bigger than France. That company is bigger than Russia. That company is bigger than Canada. That company is bigger than Brazil. One AI company that does only hardware. Of course, it's bigger than all of us Africans. When we are together, we are $3.4 trillion. We are younger than, we're the little brother of NVIDIA. Really? If Africans are going to benefit from the AI revolution, we must do something about the semiconductor industry. Professor Gulanga, who is an expert in metallurgy, we need to talk about value addition. The batteries must be built in Africa. The hardware must be built in Africa. Beneficiation, value addition, so that we have a piece of that pie. Look at that. You think mining is big. Compare Rio Tinto with NVIDIA. Compare BHP with NVIDIA. These are the biggest mining companies in the world. But they look like little babies compared to one company that does it. This is why AI is a big thing right now in the world. Because it's overshadowing every industry. Mining is a big industry, you know that, but compare that. That's $4 trillion. Okay? And look at where we have BHP, Rio Tinto. Compare with other companies. You think Meta is big, you think Costco, Netflix, McDonald's, Starbucks. Just look at those guys compared to. That's why we are saying the AI revolution. All those industries you are familiar with, Netflix, Starbucks, Coca-Cola, they are nothing. And then this one demonstrates that software companies are dominating the world. Amazon, Microsoft, look at those. In other words, AI-enabled industries are running the world. Here's the message. The CEO of NVIDIA is called Jensen Huang. He says this: AI will create more millionaires in the next 5 years than the internet did in 20 years. How many of those millionaires will be in Africa? What should we do to make sure that all those millionaires, some of them are in Zimbabwe, some of them are in Tanzania, some of them are in Ghana? AI will create more millionaires in the next 5 years than the internet did in 20 years. And by the way, you can go and Google an interview he did. He's got a message for you young people. He was addressing students at Stanford. And they said to him, what advice would you give us? He says, I wish you pain. I wish you sacrifice. Because for you to build resilience, you need to suffer. You know, he has been around for 30 years. This company was formed 30 years ago. He's grown up now. But if you look at the history of NVIDIA, he's 30 years old. He went through the hard times. So his message was that, yes to doing well, yes to success, but sometimes you learn more from failure than from success. Hard times are an opportunity to learn. So he said, I wish you pain. I wish you failure. He was speaking to students. Anyway, what is dramatizing is that don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid of adversity. Adversity is an opportunity to learn. Resilience is a function of failure. Resilience is a function of pain. No pain, no gain. I wish you pain. So that you build resilience. So we must leverage AI in Africa. 3 things we must do. We must adopt and deploy AI. There's no question about it. If it is coming from China, from India, let's use it if it works. Let's use it. But more importantly, the most important thing, people, we must design and build AI systems. Let us not just be consumers of AI. Can we design our own AI systems, build our own AI systems in our own languages, our own values, using our own data? Data is the new oil. Without data, there's no AI. Number 2 is very important. We must create our own AI systems. And of course, number 3, the hardware. Let us find a way to leverage our minerals so we can play in the semiconductor industry and be able to make money out of the hardware that drives AI. So 3 things: use AI. Number 2, develop AI. Number 3, hardware. We must increase our circle of influence. You know, we have a lot of concerns, but that circle must expand. That blue thing must expand. Things that we control and also things that we influence. But as we do this, let us not put the cart before the horse. We must have awareness. Do we even know the value and efficacy of AI? We must build basic infrastructure, digital infrastructure, energy. With load shedding, there is no AI you can talk about. South Africa, load shedding, schedule 100. You are joking. We must solve our energy situation if we're going to play in the space of AI, in particular the infrastructure. Digital infrastructure is critical. Compute infrastructure, the GPUs, MPUs, the data centers. Without a data center, there's no AI. Financial resources, the cash. And talent, expertise. You know, we must address the basics. Energy. Look at those Chinese. How much they are producing energy. Why don't we learn from China how to produce electricity? They're dominating the world. Where are we as Zimbabwe and South Africa? That's our demand. That's our supply. There's a gap of 600. That's why we have load shedding. South Africa, there's a gap of 8,800. That's why we have load shedding. If we are going to do AI in Zimbabwe, in South Africa, in Zambia, we must close that gap. It's a foundational matter. Energy is so important, such that some of the companies are now building their own nuclear power plants to generate electricity required for AI. So these are foundational matters that need to be addressed. That gap must be addressed. That gap must be addressed. That gap must be addressed. Just to dramatize the energy requirements of AI. Right now, if we put data centers as a country, all the data centers in the country, in the world, and put them as a country to compare, right now in 2023, they were right there below Germany. The estimation that in 2030, data centers as a country will only be second to China, US, and India in terms of energy requirement. Terawatt hours. That dramatizes you the need for energy for AI. If we take data centers, AI infrastructure as a country, there will only be number 4. China was 2 ahead, America was 2 ahead, and India, then data centers. Ahead of energy in Russia, ahead of energy in Japan, ahead of energy in Africa. This says to you, The gap, the issue is energy. We must address energy. If we are going to benefit from AI in Africa, we must address our energy requirements, our financial requirements, our talent requirements. Okay? We must address governance of AI, regulations, the AI ecosystem, preparedness, basic education. We must make sure that in Zimbabwe, we have an AI vision. We must make sure in Zimbabwe we have an AI strategy, which we don't. But more importantly, an AI implementation matrix. Here's the message to Africa. Every African country must have an AI vision, an AI strategy, an AI implementation matrix. That last one is the hardest part. We're very good at dreaming and planning, very poor at execution. Execution, execution, execution. Registrar. Doing is more important than dreaming. We don't spend enough time planning how to execute. Prioritization, sequencing, the implementation matrix, speed of execution, monitoring evaluation. That's where we fail as Africans. We have many bright ideas, but we're not good at implementing. So we need an AI vision, an AI strategy, an AI implementation matrix with much more concentration on the last one. That must happen at country level. But it's not enough. We must do the same at SADC. The SADC AI vision, the SADC AI strategy, the SADC AI implementation matrix. The same at COMESA, the same at ESC, the same at Maghreb. But more importantly, at continental level, the Africa AI vision, the Africa AI strategy, the Africa AI implementation matrix. I know the AU has been trying, and I talk about it in my book, but it's not good enough. We need to have those three layers talking to each other, dynamic, and we discuss that in detail. This is what we need in every country, at every region, and at the continent. This is how we can make AI work for us as Africans. But of course, we must think about policy, governance, and legislation, regulations. But the big three items are the vision, the strategy, and the implementation matrix. Okay? And I'm just going to show you a few applications. AI is applicable in every sector. And I'll just run through some things as we can come to the end now.
If your farm looks like a sci-fi movie, you're in the future of agriculture. The AI in agriculture market is booming, going from $1.7 billion in 2023 to nearly $9 billion by 2031. But what's driving this rapid growth? Generative AI is now a game changer, offering real-time insights and accelerating decision-making. Farmers are using machine learning, computer vision, and robotics for precision farming, yield prediction, and pest management.
Drones in agriculture.
A lot of people in the agriculture industry, growers, ranchers, academics, to bring about better, faster, and healthier workflows and yields, not to mention costs.
Now, those very same drones in agriculture are the drones they're using in Gaza, that the drones are using in Ukraine. Again, AI is a double-edged sword. What we want to do as Africans, we're peaceful people. I hope we're peaceful. We want to use AI to build. AI in agriculture. The same drones they're using in Gaza to kill people, the same drones they're using in Ukraine to kill people, the same technology we want to use in agriculture. But always remember, it can be used to kill, as you can see here.
Little is known about the event, except that Israel used the swarm attack to strike dozens of targets, together with other missiles and munitions. Most media outlets reported this as an attack with multiple drones at once. But military experts believe that this was a true drone swarm attack.
And then you saw this one that bombed Iran. $2.4 billion just on one plane, the B-2 bomber. There are two people in there. There was a commander and a pilot. Okay? In future, there will be no human being in that machine. to AI, bombing without human beings. Same technology for war, technology.
It's the most expensive warplane ever made. It's invisible to radar, and it can deliver a nuclear strike without being seen. This is the B-2 Ghost bomber, the crown jewel of U.S. air dominance. With a price tag of $2.4 billion each, it costs more than an aircraft carrier's fighter squadron.
Mining, a lot of applications in mining. And then infrastructure development, okay? You can use AI to drive infrastructure. I'm just trying to give you a sense. These are the things we need to do in Africa to make sure AI is working for us in agriculture, in mining, in infrastructure, in energy.
Applications of artificial intelligence and machine learning for power generation. Hello, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we will discuss an exciting topic, applications of artificial intelligence and machine learning for power generation. With the world's increasing demand for energy, the power generation industry is constantly looking for innovative ways to improve efficiency, reduce costs, and minimize environmental impact. AI and machine learning are offering new possibilities to achieve these goals. AI and machine learning are revolutionizing the power generation industry by enabling advanced optimization techniques and predictive analytics.
Okay, renewables.
Artificial intelligence is revolutionizing the renewable energy sector in incredible ways. Imagine using AI for predictive maintenance, analyzing data from wind turbines or solar panels to foresee issues before they happen, saving time and money. Then there's optimizing energy systems. AI algorithms can balance supply and demand in real time, making our grids smarter and more efficient. And when it comes to decision-making, AI can process vast amounts of data, helping researchers identify the most promising technologies and strategies.
So you see, with energy, AI is double-edged. AI requires so much energy, so it demands a lot of energy. At the same time, you use AI to produce more energy, to manage energy better. So it demands energy, yes, but it can also solve the problem. So you must understand that it will require a lot of energy to do LLMs, but you can use AI to manage energy.
Artificial intelligence, AI and energy management. Can AI help us use energy more efficiently? Artificial intelligence is used in energy management systems to optimize consumption, predict demand, and integrate renewable energy sources more effectively.
And then healthcare, again, massive into there. I won't spend too much time on.
AI is transforming every aspect of healthcare. From guiding patients effortlessly through their appointments to creating more personalized, comfortable experiences. AI is reshaping care, capturing notes in real time so doctors can focus on their patients.
Then manufacturing.
Welcome to the future of manufacturing. Enter generative AI. Trend 1, predictive maintenance, saving factories from unexpected breakdowns. 2, quality inspection, no faulty products slipping through. 3, demand forecasting, producing only what's needed. 4, process optimization, fine-tuning every step. 5, customization, unique products at mass production speed.
Welcome to the future of car manufacturing. In this video, we get a fascinating look at how AI-powered robots are revolutionizing car production in China. These highly advanced robotic arms handle every step of the process with incredible precision.
Autonomous vehicles, driverless cars.
It is the Waymo driverless car. Wow. What a crazy futuristic looking deal. Now, this is based on an eyepiece. We obviously have tons of cameras as well. Ready for pickup, and I've got a button that says unlock. The door handles extend, open up. Cool.
Good morning, Lewis.
Good morning, Lewis. Wow.
And then trucks in China which are autonomous.
The idea of a large truck barreling down the highway, carrying a heavy load and without a driver's hands on the steering wheel may seem strange and even frightening to some. Well, in China, that is exactly what's now being tested. Along certain routes, driverless lorries are being allowed to operate under supervision. And when it comes to smaller delivery vans, they're already sharing the streets with human-controlled vehicles. Our China correspondent Stephen McDonald reports.
These trucks are driving on a public road without a human being behind the wheel. Driverless transport company Pony AI was given official permission to film a video showing just what its technology can do. Now it's running a pilot program, making deliveries from Beijing to Tianjin port, which the company showed to the BBC.
Banking and finance, no sector is unaffected by AI.
Step into the future with generative AI in banking. 1. Personalized banking experiences. Think chatbots predicting your next purchase. 2. Fraud detection. Imagine AI spotting irregularities before you do. 3. Credit scoring. AI assessing your financial habits. 4. Algorithmic trading. AI making stock market predictions. 5. Risk management. AI analyzing market trends. 6. Customer service. AI solving your queries instantly. Revolutionize your banking with generative AI.
Education, where you are now, this is a big one. If we succeed, professors here, personalization is the key in AI. If we have 50 students in a class, with AI, we can have 50 different tutors for these 50 students. Each tutor tailored to the needs of that particular student. So AI tutors for students. A tutor which is unique to that student. An AI tutor. The teachers, if we have 40 professors or 40 lecturers, each one will have a teaching assistant who is unique to that professor, that lecturer. In other words, if you are teaching, let's say it's a high school, you're teaching mathematics, and you're a very good teacher, differential equations, statistics, geometry, and then maybe you're weak on complex numbers. Your teaching assistant will help you to improve and be better on complex numbers. In other words, it's a unique teaching assistant for that teacher. Take into account their strengths and their weaknesses. So this is the big issue about AI in education, personalization, where each teacher has a unique teaching assistant. Each student has a unique tutor. And that's the power of AI in education. But I want to just emphasize the issue of AI. And in AI education in America this year, after China declared that they're going to teach AI in primary schools, so all the schools in China are going to teach AI in primary schools. The Americans are going to do the same in September. And I see in this country there's also an announcement to do that. We need to come up with the skills much earlier in education.
Hi and welcome to our channel. In this video we will talk about the use of artificial intelligence in education. As technology continues to advance, we are seeing more and more ways in which AI is being used to enhance the learning experience. In this video, we will explore some of the ways in which AI is being used in education, as well as the potential benefits and challenges of using AI in the classroom. One of the ways in which AI is being used in education is through personalized learning. With personalized learning, AI algorithms are used to analyze a student's performance and provide customized lesson plans and recommendations for what the student should study next. This can be especially useful for students who may be struggling in a particular subject, as the AI can identify the specific areas where the student needs the most help and provide targeted instruction.
So this thing is in politics, in governance, in running elections, you can use AI. Policy analysis, decision making, management of elections, resource allocation, application legal systems, and of course their challenges.
The applications of artificial intelligence in politics and governance are diverse and rapidly evolving. Key areas include policy analysis and decision making, where AI can analyze vast amounts of data to guide policymakers. Public opinion monitoring uses natural language processing to analyze public sentiment on social media. Election forecasting employs AI to predict election outcomes based on historical data and current polling.
Tourism.
As AI technology advances, it's making significant strides in reshaping the hospitality and tourism industries. Experts predict that AI will enhance guest experiences through personalized services, streamline operations, and improve customer satisfaction. AI-driven chatbots and virtual assistants are already transforming guest interaction.
What are we saying? We are saying this is a revolution because AI is affecting every sector. We've seen some of the sectors here. We didn't even talk about telecoms and mobile telephony, civic society, human capital management. All these sectors are affected by AI. So what we are saying is, how can we as Africans embrace AI to drive our sectors? Agriculture, mining, mobile telephony, banking and finance, investment, all these sectors are enabled by AI. And the work I'm talking about is covered in a book that I just did, this one here, okay? And what we do in that book, we have 10 case studies. We look in Africa, we look at Rwanda, Kenya, Zimbabwe, South Africa, and Mauritius. We also look at other countries outside Africa, still in the global south, China, India, Singapore, Malaysia, and UAE. So that we can learn from each other in Africa and learn from others in similar domains. It's important that we understand that we must work together, but we must also learn from each other. For example, in my work that I've done, Rwanda is the most organized. Then comes Kenya. South Africa is in number 3. They are a big economy, but in terms of thought leadership in AI, Rwanda is ahead, and Kenya. So as we build our work in Zimbabwe, we must learn from Rwanda and also from Kenya. Globally, UAE is very interesting. UAE was the first one to come up with a minister of AI, a minister of government who just goes to cabinet to talk AI. In most countries, AI is part of ICT. No, AI must stand on its own so that we give it its role as a driving force of the entire economy. Now in the world, we have about 4 or 5 countries that have a minister of AI, but UAE was the first to do that. And also in the book, we look about 11 key economies so that we can see how we can use AI. We must make sure that we understand what's happening in the country. We must write. We are concluding now. We do not do enough writing in Africa. We read other people's books. I'm trying to be different by writing. So this is the book, which is most of the things that I talked about today. But beyond that, I have other books. Some of them are a bit dangerous. They're political. But they're there. Today we're talking technology. So that's book number 7. Again, young people, please put pen to paper. Young people, document your experiences. Young people, write journals. Go to conferences and present ideas. You learn as you write. Writing is a learning opportunity. And of course, we've got book number 8 coming up. We're launching it on the 26th of August, ZRE, next week. That's the book on SDGs, but we can talk about that on the 20th of August. And then also read other people's books. The book I've talked about, The Coming Wave, is a good book to read. Genesis by Kissinger. The Chip War. All these are books. You can't just depend on the internet and, Googling things. You must read and be informed about the AI revolution. Nexus by Harari, interesting. The Singularity is Near. All these are books you can read to make sure that you are with the program of the AI revolution and make it happen in Africa. The NVIDIA Way, and Jensen, the guy from NVIDIA, has got a book. And the people are concerned about AI, the new empire of AI. Rachel Adams is very concerned. She's worried about the implications. Read what they're concerned about. What are we saying? We are saying Africans must have agency. We must make AI work for us, anchored by an ecosystem approach. What are we saying? We are saying we must use AI to solve our problems. We must use AI to solve our socio-political problems. We must embrace and leverage AI not as a nice to have, but as an existential matter. If we don't embrace AI, we're going to become victims of AI. We must make sure that we make this technology work for ourselves. And it's a life and death matter. It's not a nice to have, it's existential. Making AI work for Africa will rise or fall on leadership, political leadership, economic leadership, business leadership, civic society leadership, Africa philanthropy leadership, and of course, leadership in adopting and creating AI, and of course, academic leadership. I want you to understand that. And we must always remember, collective success is more important than individual success. We must all do well. Africa must do well. Zimbabwe must do well. We must make sure we use AI to improve the quality of life of the majority of our people. I know some of you will say, I'm going to be a banker. I'll be a superstar banker. I'm going to be an engineer. I'm going to be a CEO, a superstar CEO. I could care less about everybody else. I'm going to do well. Here's the message to you. I used to rock up and go to the World Economic Forum, and I speak. As you can see, I love speaking, right? And they say, hey, Mutambara, very interesting stuff. Where are you from? And then I refuse to answer. Hey, I'm coming from MIT, McKinsey, and I went to Oxford. No. Which country? Where are you from? Which is your country? Again, I refuse to answer. I keep dodging. Then eventually I say, hey, I'm from Zimbabwe. I'm like, come on, Mutambara. You're from Zimbabwe? If you're such a superstar, how come your country is messed up? How come there's cholera in Harare? Mutambara, you are no superstar. So you see, Professor, my rock star status is being undermined by the bankrupts of my country. My rock star status, my superstardom is meaningless unless my country is a superstar economy. So I'm saying as I conclude, you never be respected as a Zimbabwean until Zimbabwe does well as a country. You never be respected as an African until Africa has done well as a continent. No. You are no superstar until the African economy is a superstar economy. I thank you so very much for this opportunity.